show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition, breaking right now.
So I think it's the responsible thing to do to consult on all the different options available, from a ban on social media for the under-16s to things like curfews overnight to help kids with their sleep.
Well, the government's going to hold a consultation on an Australian-style ban for social media for under-16s. That's on a few front pages, and
don't think it's a threat to NATO or to this special relationship that we have in the long run.
US Speaker of the House Mike Johnson told GB News that Donald Trump's Greenland tariffs do not threaten NATO and the special relationship. The trade war ramps up. That's also on a few front pages. Plus,
you know, most young people don't know what they want to do with their lives, and they are very confused, and they can easily fall into things like this.
Well, Shamima Begum is on the brink of being freed from her Syrian detention camp amidst a battle over Islamic State prisoners. Is it just a matter of time before the jihadi bride comes back to Britain? And
you wait a long time for a defection, and then two come along all at once.
Well, Robert Jenrick's addressed a Reform UK rally in his constituency as yet another Tory MP, well, former obviously, Andrew Rosendale defects, but Nigel Farage has said more are on the way. And for me, the big story of the day, like annoyingly, but it just is this.
Today, I'm going to make some tomato pasta. Of course, we get some pasta water.
Brooklyn Beckham has hit the nuclear button. He's spoken out against what he has called the lies that have been pushed by his parents. He's also accused his mum of ruining his wedding by dancing inappropriately with him, being vile to his wife, saying things... Well, someone, anyway, said something on the eve of his wedding about how his wife is not blood. They tried to get him to trademark the family name, all sorts. He's massively blown up. Reconciliation is well and truly off the cards. Whose side are you on over this, though? Is he a kind of, like, self-entitled Nepo baby who hasn't got a skill and married an heiress because of his dad's last name? Or actually, are his parents a bit weird? Finally...
Reforms will help us prevent crime in the first place, because that's the way that you do your work, to tackle it when it happens, and to stop it from spiralling.
Well, the government's got a new plan to radically reform Britain's police forces. The problem with that is they want to copy what's happened in Scotland, which has been an absolute disaster. Joining us this evening is broadcasting royalty Christo Fufas. We also have journalist Benjamin Butterworth and GB News contributor and comedian Leo Kurz. Loads to go at, but before we do, let's get the headlines with Sam Francis.
Very good evening to you. Just after 11 o'clock, well, the top story tonight. Tensions are rising between the US and its allies after Donald Trump threatened sweeping tariffs unless he's allowed to take control of Greenland. The US president's threatened levies of up to 25% on goods from the UK and 7 other NATO countries, refusing to rule out the use of force and replying no comment when asked directly by the media. Downing Street says the Prime Minister has now spoken with international allies, including Italy's Giorgia Meloni, insisting Greenland's future belongs to its people and Denmark alone. Sir Keir Starmer says tariffs against allies are completely wrong and Britain should not be forced to choose between US and Europe. Greenland's Prime Minister, meanwhile, says the island will not be pressured as NATO allies push back hard against escalating threats. Ministers are set to consult on an Australian-style ban on social media for under-16s as pressure grows on the government to act on children's online safety. That review will look at raising the digital age of consent and restricting addictive features like infinite scrolling, with Sir Keir Starmer signalling he is open to tougher rules. Peers will vote this week on forcing platforms to block under-16s, while ministers also plan new screen time guidance and stronger checks on phone use in schools. Campaigners say action is long overdue, but critics warn a consultation will risk further delays as parents, teachers and now MPs demand urgent protection for children. In Spain, at least 40 people are now confirmed dead after 2 high-speed trains collided, the country's worst rail disaster in more than a decade. The crash happened on Sunday evening when one train derailed, crossed onto the opposite track and slammed into an oncoming service. Officials say around 400 passengers were on board when the 2 trains were crashed, with dozens still being treated in hospital. Spain's transport minister has called the crash extremely strange, with rail chiefs ruling out excessive speed or human error, now pointing instead to a possible mechanical or infrastructure failure. And I do not want to reconcile with my family. That is the stark message tonight from Brooklyn Beckham, who has spoken out publicly for the first time about his rift with his parents. In a statement posted online, the eldest son of David and Victoria Beckham accused them of being controlling, claiming they've controlled the narrative around his life and briefed the press against him. He says he's speaking out now to defend himself and his wife Nicola Peltz, adding that stepping away has brought them peace and that they want privacy, not image or manipulation. Those are the headlines. Join us again tomorrow morning, 9:30 from the newsroom for plenty more. Now, though, it's back to Late Edition.
Welcome along to Late Edition. Let's get you all of Tuesday's newspaper front pages. There are some absolute corkers out there. The Metro, a prize idiot. Land grab row shakes NATO alliance. That's the story about Greenland, obviously. Then we've also got the iPaper. British and US relationship at lowest ebb since the 1956 Suez Crisis. The Telegraph, British teenagers face a social media ban. Apparently the government's going to consult over under-16s being banned entirely from social media. The Telegraph also have a couple of other stories on there. They talk about the police failing to fight modern crimes, and Shamima Begum could go free amongst a Syrian struggle. How long before that jihadi bride finds her way back to Tower Hamlets? The Daily Mail, Brooklyn goes nuclear. Yeah, I mean, depressingly, and people might find this a bit annoying, but I mean, it probably is the story of the day, which is that Brooklyn Beckham has released a sensational statement about his family, teeing off on all of them. We'll bring you that statement in full, but I suppose the jury's out, really. What do you think about whether or not you think he's some kind of, like, entitled Nepo baby who doesn't know that he's even been born, or has he got a right to say, look, my mum ruined my wedding? You know, it would annoy people if your mum ruined your wedding. But The Sun, Brooklyn goes nuclear. I'm done with my family. The Times, I no longer purely think about peace, says Trump. This is him apparently saying that, you know, he's snubbed for the Nobel Peace Prize, therefore he's going to act more in America's best interest. They also have the Prince Harry story, the picture of Prince Harry in court today, the first day of his latest attempt to have a go at the tabloids. The Guardian, Trump links Greenland threats to Nobel snub. I've just told you about that. The Daily Express, defiant nurses stand united as NHS faces backlash for ignoring biological sex ruling. These are the wonderful Darlington... Well, actually, there's a couple of them. There's the Darlington nurses who were forced to change with a bloke with full tackle and a girlfriend who called himself something like Ruth, I think. And then you've also, I believe, got another nurse there who I actually interviewed on the show as well. Now, from recollection, she was forced to treat a bloke who was a transgender prisoner who racially abused her, and she was punished for saying that she didn't recognise his gender, despite the fact that she'd been racially abused, which was a fascinating story, that, really, because it shows the hierarchy of things in this country, doesn't it? So actually, trans is above, I'd say, probably goes Islam, trans, and then any other kind of racism, really, in terms of where you are in that pecking order. But let's get the thoughts of my panel this evening. We've got broadcasting royalty Christo, Fufas, obviously we've got lowly journalist Benjamin Butterworth, and GBNews contributor and comedian Leo Kearse. Look, let's start with the one that I suppose is most likely to blow us all up and kill us, which is ultimately what's going on in Greenland.
I thought it was Brooklyn Beckham.
We'll get on to Brooklyn Beckham. I mean, the iPaper has got a decent one, I suppose. British and US relationship at lowest ebb since 1956 Suez crisis. Intelligence sharing under threat. Biggest shake-up for 70 years. NATO source says US colleagues have apologised for rising tensions. Starmer and the Allies are working on a plan to step up shared security. I mean, Leo, you're chuckling away here. I mean, what is it? Do you care about Greenland?
Well, yeah. I mean, Greenland deserves to have the right to self-determination. It's interesting to see the hypocrisy of all the politicians, the European politicians, British talking heads. Here on the front cover of the Metro, which is a left-wing newspaper, somebody holding a sign saying Greenland is for Greenlanders. If somebody was holding a sign saying England is for Englanders...
Bring that up, the Metros. Bring it up.
If somebody was saying that about any other European country or territory, they would be castigated as an absolute bigot, as some sort of blood and soil ethno-nationalist. But for some reason, when Trump wants to take Greenland, which he essentially already kind of owns, it would just be signing a bit of paper. Then it becomes this wonderful rallying cry. Why can't we just have some consistency? And also, all we've heard about for the last few years is how we need to decolonise places. Well, shouldn't we decolonise Greenland from Denmark then?
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Remember when Angela Merkel was on a podium and there was a bloke waving the German flag and she took the German flag off him?
Yeah.
Nine, we can't have the German flag, 9. And then we've also got...
being in the room with her, isn't it?
Well, it is. We'd need a bigger... Anyway. And then, so you've got that. You've got, the fact that the EU, we don't believe in borders. Borders are a social construct. As Leo was saying there, colonisation always bad. We need to repent for all of our history. We've got what's going on in the English Channel. We've got the mass invasion of Britain. There's, say, 65,000 illegals across the Channel under Sir Keir Starmer's tenure alone. It's a record,
Which is actually more people than live in Greenland.
Yes, it is. Right?
Can we send them
We could
there?
send them to Greenland. But now we've got EU leaders and Keir Starmer seriously saying that we need to respect Greenland's borders. I don't know, where are you on?
And also that we need to make sure that Greenlanders have the say over the future of Greenland. Or just like the residents of the Chagos Islands. Yeah, they didn't
Yeah,
get
or the
much
fact that
of
he's
a
trying
say,
to
did they?
overturn the democratic referendum for Brexit, all that.
There is a lot of hypocrisy around this. The problem is, on paper, I would feel better if America had Greenland, had way more involvement with Greenland, because actually, strategically, it is a really good idea that China and Russia don't get their hands on the minerals, nor the land on there, which would be perfect for server farms, because with the future of AI, it is ripe for that kind of infrastructure. And so Greenland is actually a place that would be perfect for the West to have more. The problem is that Donald Trump is going about it in a way that I just can't get my head around. Now, is this him just doing what he does, throwing a grenade first? Because remember the Ukraine deal with Russia? And he said, right, if you don't take this deal, there's going to be big trouble. And then as it turned out, there kind of wasn't, and the deal was watered down a bit, and now it's still sort of in the air. So is this just a strategy? He's thrown a grenade, and actually, this isn't what he's intending to do
He
at all.
also said to the Iranians, and actually, I will say, I think this was pretty bad, actually, where he said, keep going out on the streets and keep protesting because help is on the way.
Yeah.
And actually, help hasn't arrived, has it?
And that's just another instance of people trusting America and America letting them down. America told Denmark told Europe that it was going to protect Greenland. America told Ukraine it was going to protect Ukraine. Like, deals were signed. You know, Ukraine didn't give up its nuclear weapons on a whim. It was told it was going to be safe. So this is another case of Trump or America backing out of these deals.
And I mean, when Trump says, well, Denmark couldn't defend Greenland if they came for it, yeah, that's the point of NATO. Like, you've already agreed to that, and they will have a deal since 1941 to put as many military bases on Greenland as they see fit, and they've chosen to have fewer. I actually think the cynic in me says the thing that, and Venezuela was more justified, of course, but Venezuela and Greenland have huge amounts of natural resources. Greenland has cobalt, copper, gold. It's thought to have a lot of oil and gas. I think that is more the motivation, because that's why you'd want to own it rather than have a deal.
Yeah, OK. I mean, I suppose the other aspect to this, though, and I don't think it should be underestimated, is that Europe as a whole has hollowed out its various different militaries. Yeah. They've also done some really bad stuff. Like, you know, this current Labour government is looking at actively prosecuting British veterans, and some of whom now will be in their 70s, maybe even older, for things they may or may not have done years ago, whilst allowing signed-up, card-carrying, bomb-making members of the IRA to just roam the streets in complete peace. So, you look at that. I mean, there's even things that are going on in the military at the moment about how, I mean, they're discriminated against white men in the RAF and all of that. So, you look at it and you think, from Trump's perspective, Christo, if China or Russia really tried it on with Greenland or in the waters around Greenland, how could Trump trust Europe to sort it out?
And I think that's an absolutely fair point. And also this cavalier attitude that Europe has had, that we'll always have America. And actually, it's just shown, hasn't it, just how delicate that is and just how complacent that we've been, and to just presume that they'll always be there, we'll always have an ally there, and actually we can do all of those things to our military. We can hollow it out right, left and centre. We can have an absolutely limp and rubbish defence. We could be their poodle when they want to go into Iraq, and actually it is so delicate.
And the line today from Keir Starmer that really got me was when he came out twice. He said, "I will always act in Britain's national interest. This is my
I'd like to see him do it once.
Yeah, well, that's not...
And also now he's going to these meetings and he's having these discussions about, whether to put troops in Ukraine or send troops to Greenland. It's like, is this really the time to be opening a front against America and a front against Russia in the middle of the winter? I mean, that's a nonsense. I think... Christo's right. Us being under the umbrella of America has actually been very damaging for Britain and for Europe. We've not just become militarily weakened. We've lost our sense of self. We've lost all sense of our nationalism, essentially. And we've started self-harming. We've started to do experiments on our children. We're a sick society, and I think we need to remilitarise, bring back national service, and get that strength back.
But come on, this pity parade that Trump constantly does of the world is taking advantage of the US. Well, hang on. The US accounts for 20% of global GDP, the same share that it did 50 years ago. It's the only country that's maintained it. It's the major country. It has done better out of this global order than anywhere else on Earth.
It's almost as if having sort of patriotism and a strong military actually benefits your country.
Or
eroding it is something that's quite
writing
bad.
the rules that we all live by and then complaining about.
Talking of banning things. Let's have a look, because this is on the front of a load of different newspapers. When we play this clip afterwards, it'd be good if we could come back on the Daily Telegraph's front page. So we've got it's Liz Kendall, who is talking about banning social media for under-16s.
I think it's the responsible thing to do to consult on all the different options available, from a ban on social media for the under-16s to things like curfews overnight to help kids with their sleep, breaks to stop excessive scrolling, how we make sure existing measures and age enforcement happen swiftly and effectively. The issue is not whether we're going to act, but how.
Sorry, something that completely... So this is originally, anyway, British teenagers face a social media ban. If you're under 16, you might be biffed off social media. Did she say she's thinking about implementing curfews at night to help children with their sleep? Sorry? Are we not going to have parents in Britain anymore? I get that it's difficult.
The state is going to take care of it. They're going to give them breakfast. Then they're going to make sure they're toilet trained at school because they won't be when they arrive. Clean their teeth every morning because they won't know how to do that. And then there's going to be a state operative in everyone's house, only if they don't work, of course, because you know that's the benefit that they get nowadays, to make sure they go to bed on time. That's the future of Britain.
I've got it in my ear there that apparently it's social media curfew. Still, I don't know. I mean, it seems a bit weird to me, all this. I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about social media bans for under-16s?
Well, I think it's actually a good idea. Now that I've got a child, I think it's a good idea to ban social media for children because I think it's really toxic and corrosive. My worry is that it's going to creep up to, people my age. And, as we've seen in Iran, they cut off the internet. When a government's teetering, when a government's at risk, they cut off the internet.
You won't be banned. You'll be imprisoned.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
But I might try and put you to bed.
We're going to have to get Starlink terminals to, get onto our WhatsApp so we can talk to each other.
I'll tell you what, George is going to get a shock the day he turns 16 and opens up social media and sees the things I've been saying for the last however long, isn't he?
With Brooklyn Beckham all over again, won't it?
You're going to see him on the front of the Sun going, actually, my dad was all right, to be honest with you. I've just realised he's a massive...
It'll be George goes nuclear.
George goes nuclear.
I think it's a good idea as well. I actually see no reason why someone whose brain has not properly developed yet, and I include you, Ben, in this, should have a smartphone. I don't know why. If I had children, they would have a brick phone. They would not have a smartphone. They would have access to one to learn how to use one, but there is a really important thing that's happening at the moment, and no one is talking about it, and that is digital dementia, and that is children who are using these to literally get answers on everything, not just social media, but actually social media is the reason why they're on it all the time.
Yeah.
But map reading, calculator, all that stuff, they're not developing their brains.
The cynic in me, Benjamin, would say this, that actually right-wing TikTok, right-wing X, right-wing Instagram is absolutely popping at the minute. It's huge. It used to all be dominated by the left, and now all of a sudden it's gone to the right because of what a cluster this government has been. They don't want teenagers to see it. I don't want them to be indoctrinated by their green voting teachers at school.
I don't know how much an average 13, 14-year-old is really paying attention to politics and TikTok. I reckon their algorithm isn't giving you the same things. But look, there is another side to this. So Molly, the dad of Molly Russell, who tragically took her own life after social media issues, he said at the weekend that he's against a ban because he thinks that it's a sledgehammer, that they would find other ways to access social media, darker, more dangerous ways, and that it could cause a whole new set of problems. I think, in truth, so the government's opening a consultation to this. That's what they've announced. They're calling it a digital age of consent, which I think is a rather nice way to put it. We should wait at least 12 months, see what happens in Australia, see if teenagers circumvent it, see if they're healthier, and then make a decision, not rush into it.
All right, well, there we go. So, coming up, yes, like it or loathe it, and I suspect many of you loathe it, this is the big story of the evening.
Today, I'm going to make some tomato pasta. Of course, we get some pasta water.
Well, top chef and obviously as well, award-winning photographer Brooklyn Beckham has pushed the nuclear button. He's gone for all-out war with his parents. It's actually even bigger in a way than the Prince Harry stuff, just because of how vile it's been about them. And some of the revelations, actually, about Victoria Beckham potentially doing some kind of inappropriate dance at his wedding and snubbing his wife. It's got it all, this story. So whose side are you on? Are you on Team Brooklyn or are you on Brand Beckham? That's next.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel. I think it's really a shocking statistic to hear, but it's one that we've heard a lot of in recent years, that suicide is the biggest killer of men under the age of 50. Do you think the government are doing enough to try and reduce that number?
Well, I mean, look, it's a very difficult, very touchy subject. I've lost friends to suicide, so many of us, you know, and it's devastating. It ruins families, ruins lives, and it's so sad that maybe that person did commit suicide, could be here, if there was some bit of support, someone looking out for them. So, look, I'm not pointing the blame at anyone, because life's hard, yeah, and it's only going to get tougher this year. So if anyone watching this wants to set up a little group on a Sunday, go and do it, you know. Look after your friends, look after your community. We're all there for one another. Let's all be there next year and the year after and the year after that. That's what it's all about.
And if people want to join in next week, how do they get involved?
Get yourself down to Thatcher's Arms in Brentwood in Essex. Be here for 8 a.m. We're going to have for a lovely stroll to the countryside. Bring your dogs, bring your mates, whoever. Come down here. We'll shake your hands. You're all welcome. Be a lovely day.
I actually think it's a really, really brilliant idea, I have to admit. Well, a GB News reporter, Bethany, who's normally in the studio with me, but I'm sending her out to a pub, also spoke to a few other people who were at the event to see what they thought. Let's have a listen.
Things like today are really, really important, you know. A group of blokes from all walks of life having various different issues that often go unspoken, whether it's, you know, addiction or marital issues or loneliness, social isolation, anxiety, depression, all those sorts of things. You know, it's nice to be able to come down here, have a chat with a bunch of blokes about the various issues going on in their lives.
I think it's really important for men. Hearing some of the stories today, you think you're alone all week and different things, and hearing some of the stories and talking to others today that you're not, you have to have a chill out from work.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Well, I know that many of you will hate this, but we're not in control of the news, I'm afraid. In a series of explosive social media posts, Brooklyn Beckham has accused his parents of trying to control him, of leaking negative stories about him to the press and trying to ruin his marriage. Jaw-dropping revelations, the eldest Beckham son said, "My mum hijacked my first dance with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance to a romantic song. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life." He added, "For my entire life, my parents have controlled narratives in the press about our family. The performative social media posts, family events and inauthentic relationships have been a fixture of the life I was born into." Brooklyn has been embroiled in a vicious row with his parents ever since marriage to the American heiress Nicola Peltz. Well, we are joined in the studio alongside our panel by showbiz journalist Sarah Louise Robertson. Thank you very much. Now, you've been right in the weeds of this Brooklyn Beckham feud for a long time. What are some of the standout things for you about all of this?
It's absolutely explosive. He has thrown a grenade into the heart of the Beckham brand, and it's going to be very interesting how they come back from this. I mean, it's an incredible statement and a series of really damning and incendiary allegations that he's made about his parents. I mean, this was a boy who at one point was so close to his mum and dad and was such a part of the Beckham household, and then he marries Nicola. The feud started coming out just after the wedding. We heard that there was frostiness between Nicola and Victoria, Brooklyn's mum, and then they tried to cover it up and they all tried to play happy families and pose together at Victoria's fashion show. Then we started to see cracks appearing again on social media, and this is a story that's been followed closely by the media for the last year, and it looks like Brooklyn has just had enough. Apparently he sent a statement through his solicitors last year to his parents to say, stop talking about me, stop mentioning me on your social media posts. I don't want anything to do with you. Please leave me alone. And it looks now like he has just literally lit the torch paper and gone for it.
One of the things that stands out to me, so, OK, if his mum... I mean, by the way, this didn't happen, but the way it's worded, it makes it sound like his mum gave him some kind of lap dance on his wedding day in front of everyone, which is obviously horrendous.
Yeah, well, it was the wording...
Mum hasn't done that.
Inappropriate. But he said it's the wording. He says, she danced on me.
On me?
Not with me.
Have we got pictures?
On me.
No.
Somebody must have
I've
seen her in a Spice Girls concert, and I mean, I'd be amazed she got through those moves, to be honest, because she was never the best dancer.
She wasn't the best dancer. She's a bit wooden with dancing as she was with singing. But as she is with singing, bless her, I do love Victoria Beckham, so I probably sound a bit biased here, but I think, as the Queen would say, because there's parallels, isn't there, between Prince Harry and his exodus from the royal family and what Brooklyn's done. Both have married American women and left for new lives and left their family behind. It's interesting, isn't it, those parallels? But going back to Victoria, that wording is very specific, and that is what's highly damaging. And Victoria is someone who's said recently she's had therapy, she believes in mental health. This will be really, really hurtful to her. She will be reeling. Brooklyn and her had an extraordinarily close relationship when David was playing away at Real Madrid. He became almost like the man of the house, did Brooklyn. She sort of almost relied on him.
When you say David was playing away, you're talking about football.
No.
I knew it.
We won't touch on the Rebecca Lewis allegations.
No, which of course he denies vehemently for the second time tonight.
The family have addressed it.
Yes.
There has been rumours, I know.
Do you think that there's a chance that they'll want to be making up again? Do you think that they should just stop right now? Maybe their relationship would
I love that.
forever.
Stop
Has it all
now.
just got too much? I just don't know. Maybe they've just said goodbye. I don't know.
Christo, you've beaten me to it. I love all these Spice Girls puns.
Wow.
I think coming back from this...
You don't recognise any of them, do you?
No. I think, well, look, have we seen what's happened with Prince Harry and Meghan and the royal family? This is set to run and run. And remember when Colleen Rooney released that damning statement on Rebecca Vardy and those famous ellipses, ... Not since then have we seen something as wild or explosive to do with celebrities as this. It's not going to end now.
There's something else I hope you might be able to put, Sarah. Is it something to do with wanting to control his name or something?
Yeah, so he writes in this post that Victoria Beckham was meant to design the wedding dress, and he says that the family were trying to bribe me into signing away my name. So that sounds like a copyright deal about the name that he was going to take. He wouldn't do it, and so, according to Brooklyn, Victoria Beckham cancelled making the wedding dress at the 11th hour, leaving her in the lurch. I suspect they had the money to get a new one quickly. Yeah. But that sounds like quite controlling mother-in-law behaviour.
It does sound controlling mother and daughter-in-law behaviour, and we know this goes on in families everywhere up and down the land, so I'm sure every mother-in-law will sympathise with Victoria in this, I'm sure. But what I would like to say is there's contradictions to that, Benjamin, and that is, at the time when this feud was first reported on, Nicola came out and said that she was always going to use a different designer, which I believe was Valentina, who we've just lost today. So there's contradictions in the statement that Brooklyn's put out that Victoria had cancelled, because Nicola, if you go back and read previous interviews that Nicola's given, she has said that she always had another designer lined up.
Dare I be cynical and say that back then, when they were trying to maintain relations, when they were about to have the wedding day, you probably would say publicly, no, it's all OK, it's not a problem. And now he's hit the nuclear button and said, well, actually, this is what happened. It does sound like they're incredibly controlling of their brand.
Well, they all know this.
But beyond the value of their own eldest son.
Do you know, those children have grown up in the limelight. It's like all celebrity offspring. I know we call them Nepo babies, but they have been thrust into the spotlight, whether they like it or not. And part of Victoria and David's brand is producing this wholesome family image, the perfect children, that they are the perfect family. They're this nuclear family that all adore each other, go on holiday together.
They're not. They hate each other by the sounds of it.
Well, but on that, because talking of Nepo baby, now, another way of looking at this is that Brooklyn has had every single opportunity that the world could ever have afforded him, from being a chef, which has been awful, right, to photography. And I think we've got a picture here. There you go. He published a photography book which included a picture of that elephant, right? If any of us took a picture of that, there is no way that anyone would have published it. But Brooklyn Beckham was allowed to have a go at photography, wasn't he? He got it published. So, you know, there have been some significant upsides for Brooklyn in his having them as fans.
I was Brooklyn Beckham, I would literally be. I would be every day kissing the sky, kissing the ground, jumping for joy that I was born into that.
Well, that's how he's got. That's why he's got the heiress to a multi-billion-pound fortune.
And you know what?
Would Nico have looked at Brooklyn if she just bumped into him and he was, I don't know, the valet when she was parking her car at Premier? You know, would she? No, she wouldn't. Let's face it.
But look, what else does someone in that position do? You could say.
Go away and be quiet.
Right? But also, he didn't choose to be this son. And actually,
well, no one chooses to be born, do they?
Precisely. And if you're put in this position where your parents are sort of exploiting you, they're trying to use you for the brand, they choose the brand over their boy, I think actually, eventually, isn't there a lot of self-respect, a lot of self-dignity? And that what he's basically saying is that I don't want to be this Instagram brand for my parents. I want to be my own person with my wife.
Well, we have seen that. I think it was David Bowie's son, wasn't it, who's now Duncan Jones, but he was given the name by Angie Bowie and David some crazy name. Zowie Bowie. And then when he got older, he says, I want nothing to do with this, and sort of went away quietly and changed his name to the boring old Duncan.
He could have done that, or said, you know, why did he make those ridiculous, like, sandwiches on television which were absolute nonsense? Why did he do that?
Worse than Meghan. Like, Meghan made worse food. She just put out, like, crudities. Opened the supermarket hummus. Opened a tub of hummus. It's like, I can do that.
Can I tell you something that I know?
You're very quickly.
Apparently, at the wedding, I had an insider that knew it.
Which wedding? The Royals or the Beckhams?
The Beckhams' wedding, the Nicole Peltz and Brooklyn wedding. Apparently, the Beckhams, because it was so zhuzhy and the Peltzes have got so much money, the Beckhams were a bit insignificant, and they were, because they were so low rent to the rest of the people there. And I wonder if that's a little part of this as well, that he's just basically outshone
All
them
I will say is this makes the royal drama look like happy families.
It does. And the other aspect is, of course, is that his siblings have apparently blocked him on social media as well.
Yes, he said that first, but it was reported that Brooklyn blocked them, but he's hit back, you see, at those allegations.
Well, the Beckhams
and said that they blocked him.
Victoria and David are going to have to come out and say something, because this is huge.
But I have met Brooklyn, and I will say this in his defence, when I did meet that boy, and it was many, many years ago, long before Nicola was on the scene, at a private party in Cannes Film Festival, and he was one of the politest young men I've ever come across. Extraordinarily polite and well-mannered.
Well, Brooklyn Beckham owes me 10p, and he owes me 10p because I used to, growing up, go to the same David Lloyd's that the Beckhams used to go to back in Cheshire. And I was at the bar. I was only a child, although, you know. I was at the bar, and he didn't have enough money for Ribena, and I gave him 10p, and David Beckham came over and said, thank you very much. Didn't offer to pay me back, obviously. But I think with interest, now, I'm a millionaire, so there we go. Anyway, right, thank you very much. Interesting stuff. Let's see how this rumbles on. Coming up, though, in just a moment.
You know, most young people don't know what they want to do with their lives, and they are very confused, and they can easily fall into things like this.
By this, she means ISIS, right? Jihadi bride Shamima Begum is on the brink of being released from prison. So, what happens next? I've got the details on that very shortly.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update, brought to you from the Met Office. Cloudy throughout tonight for most of us, some rain across northern areas, and by tomorrow morning it will become pretty windy across western areas. That's as an area of low pressure is developing out in the Atlantic. That will bring some strong winds into Tuesday, but before then, a weakening weather front brings further outbreaks of rain to more northern areas into this evening. Some of these heavy at times, just turn a little bit drier and clearer for a time across Wales, southern parts of England too, with heavy bursts of rain continuing across Scotland. With clear skies pretty limited, frost is also going to be fairly limited to start Tuesday. Just the far north of Scotland could see temperatures just below zero, but a relatively mild start for the time of year to come for Tuesday. But the winds will strengthen. We could see gusts in excess of 65 miles per hour through Tuesday across parts of West Wales, Devon and Cornwall. A breezy picture elsewhere across the rest of the UK, but a brighter picture, actually. Not entirely dry, still a few showers across parts of western Scotland, the far north as well, seeing some outbreaks of rain through Tuesday morning. But as we head towards lunchtime in the afternoon, I think there'll be more in the way of dry and brighter weather for many northern and eastern areas of the UK. It's actually a very different story for the west, as this area of low pressure starting to develop here will continue to bring further outbreaks of rain into parts of Wales, southwest England, Northern Ireland too, and those winds could bring some travel disruption to ferries as well as rail services as well. So please do check before you travel. Now, it's not going to feel too bad in the brightness in the east on Tuesday, but Wednesday, I think you will more likely be caught out in some rain. Outbreaks of heavy rain will push up from the south, bringing many of us a bit of a wet day on Wednesday. But it's across eastern areas of Scotland where we'll start to see the rainfall totals building up through the rest of this week. We do have a rainfall warning out already for these areas, as we could see as much as 120 millimetres of rain.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Shortly, we've got a story about Shamima Begum potentially being released from an ISIS prison very, very soon, like within days. But before that, we go to Bev Turner now, who's going to be hosting The Late Show live stateside for us from midnight until 2 a.m. And she's going to tell us what's on the show. Bev.
Hi, Patrick. Yep, very good morning. Yeah, good evening to you. I'm never quite sure we say morning, evening on this show. Yeah, Greenland obviously is a massive issue here, Patrick. President Trump gets on the plane to Davos on Tuesday, speaks on Wednesday, flies back on Thursday after no doubt dropping a few massive truth bombs on the World Economic Forum. He will not be the most popular man in the room. We're going to be looking kind of forward to that. We're going to be building forward to that all week. It's going to be a massive week in American politics. I'm going to have some experts on tonight to explain the Greenland situation. Why does he want it and why is he failing to get across the comms around this issue as to why he wants to have Greenland and why he thinks it's in the interests of not only America but also actually Europe as well, Patrick. And we're going to be talking about the Beckhams as well, of course. I think Brooklyn Beckham has to realise he's been fortunate, entitled, probably quite spoiled and had every single opportunity in his life. And this evening I feel incredibly sorry for his mum and dad more than anything. I know there's some weird stuff in that statement. There really is some very odd stuff about the wedding. But, you know, Victoria Beckham wouldn't be the first drunk mum at a wedding to have not entirely made the right decisions. But, yeah, we've got a lot to talk about tonight on The Late Show Live. So everyone stick with us after midnight.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you completely on that. I agree completely. Bev, look, thank you very much. As ever, Bev Turner there, midnight until 2 a.m. Late Show Live. Don't miss it. Right. Back to us now and the Daily Telegraph. Bring that up, please. Shamima Begum could go free amid Syrian struggle. Shamima Begum could be freed from her Syrian detention camp amid a violent struggle for Islamic State prisons. She was stripped of her British citizenship after leaving East London a decade ago to join ISIS. She's been held in a detention camp in northeast Syria. The Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, the coalition that controls the camp, is losing ground to government forces. It interferes that inmates could be released. Leo.
Yeah, I mean, it's something she keeps popping up every year. I swear to God, every year there's another thing about is Shamima Begum coming back here. Is some left-wing activist lawyer going to spring her out of prison? Now it looks like the actual Syrian regime, led by a man who used to be in Al Qaeda, is going to do it. It's interesting that when Islamists are held in prison, it's not a life sentence for them. It's a sentence until Islamists can spring them out of prison. And I'm wondering if, you know, people in this country like Hashim Abedi, the Manchester Arena bomber, if they feel any, you know, that they're going to be in prison for that long. Is he going to be out in 10 years when we've got, you know, Islamists controlling parts of the country? We've already got the West Midlands police in the grip of Islamists and you know, dancing to their tune. But yeah, Shamima Begum, I mean, we've seen pictures of her. She's had a glow up, not a blow up. So she's, you know, is it right for her to come back here? Has she learned her lesson? Was she just a child when she went over there? Is she as much of a victim as other people groomed by, you know, this demographic? I don't know. I mean, I think we've got to start putting British safety first.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, you know, there's twofold for me with Shamima. I mean, there's the first thing I think she should come back because she's a terrorist. I mean, the other thing I think she should be expelled for is because she's thick as mince. I mean, this idea, oh, sorry, I didn't realise what I was doing. And then she did several interviews afterwards where it's like, all you've got to do, Shamima, is say that you were groomed, say that it was horrible, say all the things that your lawyers are telling you to say. She goes, yeah, I knew what ISIS was doing, I was fine with it. Yeah, I was fine with it. But absolutely.
Would you rather have thick Islamists?
That is, yeah. Where are all the smart Islamic terrorists? Where have they gone? You're absolutely right, though, because I would have had some sympathy for her had it been that she was only doing this stuff when she was a child and going and travelling there. But then you're right, as an adult, she praised the Manchester Arena.
Labour would have given her the vote in 6 months' time and she would have voted for ISIS.
I have to credit her PR, though. She has got a brilliant PR. I mean, she's in the papers every day. I tell you, I know it's been bad for her citizenship, but going and joining Islamic State has been the best thing for her profile.
I hate
she'll be on Big Brother if she came back.
She was a nobody before.
I mean, strictly for next year. That's what I say.
I think Katie Price is getting jealous at this point with the amount of attention she gets. I mean, I've interviewed Shamima via video linked. It was back when she appeared on the cover, just after the cover of the Saturday Times magazine.
Yeah, with the lippy on.
She was in sunglasses, lippy, leggings. I said, you ran off to join ISIS. Look at you now, you've joined ASOS. She had a complete transformation.
Did she think that was funny? Or did she say it?
I tweeted that. I didn't say it to her.
Okay.
But I will tell you, one thing I learned from my time with Shamima was she has a Twitter account. She has WhatsApp. She's on social media. And so she sees the things. She might see this. She might see what you're saying. I just want to fact-check, Liam, I'm afraid. The Kurdish part of Syria is self-governing. And so it's not the person that's the new president of Syria that would be letting her out. He would not want that at all. And the danger is that the fighting means that she escapes.
So as I understand, it's the Syrian regime that's going in and, you know, fighting.
But it would be the Kurds that let her out. They control that part of Syria in northeast Syria. But look, the question of whether she should come home, it's not going to happen. No Labour government, no government.
Sorry, it's going to the ECHR.
No one is going to let her in. I bet you a tenner.
I don't want her to come here because, well, firstly, I'm amazed she's got social media. Is she actually an influencer from Syria? But secondly, like, I don't want her back here because we will give her. She will be on that This Morning sofa. They will give her a 12-minute slot to talk about Shamima, my story. Then they'll give her a makeover, and before we know it, she'll be a loose woman. Yeah. You know, she will be. That's the media in this country now.
BBC documentary written all over.
It really hasn't been the book deal. Shamima, you know, like
she's probably not even particularly radicalised compared to a lot of the people we've got here. There's 50,000 Islamists on terror watch lists in the UK. What's another one?
Can you imagine?
She'll be de-radicalising them.
Can you imagine if she becomes more radicalised in Britain?
Yeah. Like, but the UAE took Britain off its list of university scholarships because of fears of radicalisation in our country.
So we just want the old Shamima. We just want the old Shamima, the one that just dabbled in a little bit of ISIS tomfoolery. Now we've got full-blown Tower Hamlet Shamima.
You've actually come up with the perfect defence for the ECHR. Do not bring her back here because it's less safe for her.
We should argue that. Joe, I'll tell you what, you thought she was radical before. Wait until you see her released onto the streets of Leicester. Anyway, right, coming up in just a moment. Okay. Oh, yes, I'm going to be telling you what's going on here. Yes, absolutely, yes. It's if you're listening on radio, bad luck. But basically, it's a load of cars underneath what looks like a massive snowdrift. But where is it? You'll never guess.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. Storm Harry, named by the Spanish Met Service, will bring some heavy rain, thunderstorms, strong winds to central parts of the Mediterranean over the next few days. Dry across Turkey and Greece on Tuesday, but rather chilly. Wet weather across Italy into the Balearics and then eastern Spain as well. Some snow over the higher ground. Drier towards Madeira, down into the Canaries, Tenerife, 18 degrees, sunny spells, where it remains warm over the next few days here.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Let's round ourselves off with the Daily Telegraph's front page. Do you want to know where, officially, according to AI, the most racist towns in Britain are? In the UK, actually. Do you want to know? Well, I'll tell you. It is Christo.
It is me. It's Burnley, Bradford and Belfast. So, as you say, according to ChatGPT, the chatbot, though, according to researchers, is displaying biases about modern Britain. An investigation by the Oxford Internet Institute found that the AI tool got its answers regurgitating negative stereotypes about different parts of Britain, portraying rich areas as smarter and less racist, and poorer areas as racist and less smart. So basically, not only have we come up with racist towns, but we now can say conclusively that AI and ChatGPT is another thing to add to the racist list.
Well, the one reason I would say that Burnley, I would struggle to say, is like the most racist. And I think there's been someone who was elected to the local council there who basically ran on a ticket of Sharia law, won, so it's not really that racist, is it, in that sense? Otherwise, she wouldn't have won. And then you got Bradford again. I mean, you know, not exactly an integration success story. If Bradford is the most racist, though, I think that's probably because not in the way that you'd think, which is white people being racist. I mean, there are pockets there of the Muslim and the Hindu community who do not like each other.
Yeah.
So that's racism, isn't it?
Yeah, like we see in Leicester with the running battles. We've imported these tribal conflicts from all around the world, and apparently it's our greatest strength.
It is, it's enriching.
Yeah, like, I don't even understand what the word racism means anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of these words...
That's why we get in so much trouble.
Yeah, I have so many HR meetings. But, I mean, it's one of these words that's just tossed out all the time. Like, Antonia Bantz was throwing it around. I mean, I was impressed that, you know, she was using a word that was more than one syllable. But she was, you know, throwing it around as if it's just become a thing to cast at someone as an insult.
Sorry, who is that?
She's a Labour person.
Oh, OK.
Well, the researchers have said that the results show that AI bots reinforced prejudices. So now an AI bot is racist.
But all prejudices are, like, all stereotypes are essentially true. And if we try and, like, counter them by saying they're not true,
well,
you know, all Scottish people are incredibly attractive and well hung. And, you know, there's other stereotypes as well.
ChatGPT has, in defence to it, Benjamin, just started working for West Midlands Police.
Indeed, yeah, the Craig Guilford or whatever his name was used it. I mean, look, these tools are products of human intelligence, you know, recycled, and so we have biases, then the applications will have biases, so it shouldn't be such a surprise.
OK, right, well, now, I showed you some footage earlier on, and I'm going to show it to you again now. The Mediterranean holiday island, very popular with Brits, Malta, has been hit by severe weather. Storm Harry has battered the region. What you're looking at there is cars buried beneath hailstones as icy floods hit the streets. Meanwhile, massive waves battered the shores when high-speed winds toppled trees. So you've got a potent combination there of hail, wind, snow, floods, everything. Residents have been urged to stay indoors. Well, yeah, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, that, believe it or not, is Malta at the moment.
I mean, in the 1960s, Malta had a referendum to be a part of the UK because it loved Britain so much, and we turned them down. We've now given them the weather, so they've got what they wanted. They're basically British.
How stupid was it to turn Malta down?
Yeah, I'd love to have that as another place. Nice. And who knows, they might even have oil or something we can have, or Chagosians.
Why don't we just say that we're going to invade them or that we're going to take them over? I mean, that seems to be the thing that's in vogue at the moment.
Well, this is where Trump went wrong. He didn't go in, like, offering a carrot. If he did, there's only 50,000 Greenlanders. If he'd said, like, who wants $1 million and a green card, people would have been like, yes, please. But, you know, because he went in being all like, I'm going to beat you up.
But he has, in fairness, he's previously sort of alluded to that. I think it worked out at $100,000 per Greenland.
I think it's $1 million.
They can go bigger than that, mate. I mean, this is it. I mean, you know, like, if he offers them a load of cash and the Greenlanders decide...
Be careful. An island covered in snow, he'll think it's Greenland at any time.
OK, fine. Yeah, good. Nice one. Right, OK. Falling for the old Viking trick there. Right, let's just give you all of the papers again. So, they start with the Daily Telegraph. British teenagers face a social media ban. They've also got that story about Shamima Begum being free within days. The Metro, a prize idiot, land grab row shakes NATO alliance, and a picture there of Greenland is for Greenlanders, as Leo rightly pointed out. Yeah, the English can't go around saying stuff like that, can we? Anyway, the iPaper. British and US relationship at lowest ebb since 1956 Suez crisis. The Times, I no longer think purely about peace, says Trump. The Guardian, Trump links Greenland threats to Nobel snub. So, again, there are two newspapers saying the same thing. He got snubbed for the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, I'll have a bit of Greenland then. The Daily Express, defiant nurses stand united as NHS faces a backlash for ignoring biological sex ruling. The Daily Mail, Brooklyn Beckham goes nuclear. Same story as The Sun. Brooklyn goes nuclear. I'm done with my family. Watch this space, because the Beckhams are going to have to clap back on this at some point soon. So thank you very much to our wonderful panel. Thank you to everyone who's watched and listened. Over now to Bev Turner for The Late Show Live Stateside.
Thank you, Patrick. Yep, stay with me tonight. Why would Donald Trump invite Putin on the board of peace to sort out the Middle East? What is going to happen in Davos this week when Trump arrives to talk to the World Economic Forum? And Trump has achieved net zero migration whilst boosting the economy. Lots to discuss.
An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Jane. I won £54,321 with the Great British Giveaway. Oh, definitely please enter. It is real, and that one text has just made my life 100% better.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation.